go live on Instagram, or whether indeed I can do that. Let me see if I can do it. Let me see. We are struggling out loud. There's a reason for that. It's because it's the only way. Oh, hang on. Don't know what's going on here. Oh, there we are. There we go. Good morning, Manny and Marion. I am just putting on the Instagram live. Any second now. Please do share the space. It is 6 o'clock. It's Monday, the 19th of February, and you are in Clubhouse. I am just posting a go live on my StreamYard. There we go. And we are live. There we are. We're there. You are live. We are live. Hey, James, good morning. You are live. We are live. It's Monday, the 19th of February, and I am, as you can see, if you're looking, in my new office. As you can see, I've got lots of things ready to go on my wall behind me, and this is going to be my new space. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, yay! And yeah, that's everywhere. That's fantastic. It's great to see you here. It's great to see new people here as well. And good morning. I think I am coming down with a bit of a cold, which is interesting. And good morning to you, Dale. Let me see if I have found what I was doing. Let me have a look. I'm just having a look to see. So this morning, I'm struggling out loud. Found it. I'm struggling out loud, and we are all struggling out loud. And the reason that I came to this this title is because, well, life can be a bit of a struggle, I think. I am at the moment on placement with the local authority. I've also been developing my own business for the last 2 years, and I have to say that it's not been as easy as I'd have liked it to be. Although I say that, and I'm not sure whether I'd have liked it to have been any easier, because it is in the struggling that I have had the most learning. It's not because I want to whinge. It's because I want to talk about why the value of being vulnerable. Oh, there we go. I'm just having to say yes to something. There we go. The power of being vulnerable. Oh, my phone is going crazy. Is not about winning. It's not about losing. It's about having the courage to show up, whether or not you know whether you are going to win or not. It's showing up before you know the outcome. Good morning, Jew. I bet we've had problems finding things this morning. But I showed up anyway. So even when we are struggling out loud, even when it's just that, the going gets tough and the tough get going, I'm not sure whether they often get going into the foray or whether they get going, leaving the mix. But I'm showing up no matter what. And even when I felt like this maybe isn't the best use of my time all of the time, I realize that it's in the learning that actually the showing up creates the magic. So I did not feel this morning like going to morning meeting. I didn't feel like last week talking to my team. I'll be honest. I was kind of not summoned, but a team meeting was called, and there's a dozen of us now, and that's quite a big team actually, particularly when you are struggling out loud, and that's what I've been doing. And I think that it takes courage to be authentic. I think it takes courage to be vulnerable. But I do think that it's instrumental in becoming our own authentic selves. And I have seen people just recently, including myself, struggling out loud, talking about the difference between what is competing and what is having healthy competition, and what is overcoming personal limitations, and what is just the way it is. Because I think that being able to struggle out loud, being able to accept that sometimes we get setbacks, and that our life has to shift or change or pivot. I've heard people say today, this week, last week rather, quite a lot. Well, I pivoted to so and so over COVID. I think It's important to emphasize that my own personal growth, how I feel about how I've changed or how I'm developing, is much more important than any measurement of societal success. And I'm experiencing some of those measurements now, right? Some of those measurements that others perceive as societal success. But I still struggle with my personal limitations, like massively, almost more so now, I would say. I struggle with my personal limitations because that societal measure of success means that what? I shouldn't be struggling anymore, right? I think that for me, I have to remain grounded. And that involves me taking real world observations and noticing that the internal battles that I have are very much an internal experience, but my external battles often reflect my internal struggles. I think that when we join as a community, and it's great to see everybody here, um, when we are in communities, I'm in various communities. I'm in various communities with some of you guys here today, wherever you are, whether you are on LinkedIn, whether you're in Clubhouse, wherever you are. And believe me, we're a shared community. We are all over the place. Morning, Alexia. When we have a platform for those shared struggles, difficult to say on a Monday morning, shared struggles, that offers us support and understanding rather than any judgment. Because I think that's really, really key here, that in 2024, isn't there an awful lot of judgment, not only for each other, but for ourselves, right? Yet, one of my most favourite authoresses and speakers and collaborative therapists, individuals who speak into the truth as I see it, Brené Brown says that she defines connection, which is, we talk about belonging in business and how we're all connected on a Saturday in LinkedIn. We talk about it here in MJ's house on a Monday morning at 6 o'clock for those on replay. And we also talk about it in inclusion, of course, on a Monday night at 7. And then we zoom over at past on a Monday night. I'm excited about tonight to talk about those shared struggles. She defines our connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When they can give and receive without judgment, and when they can derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. There's no judgment there, you'll notice. What you'll notice is people turning up as themselves and struggling out loud. That's connection when we are struggling out loud. The energy between people when we feel seen, heard, and valued. Then we can give and receive without judgment. Then we can derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. That's when a relationship's a relationship, right? Now we have got oodles of examples of the community support systems that we've created in inclusion and with accessibility partners that have created those personal breakthroughs for people. And I don't care where you are. And by that, I don't care whether you're a BBC presenter, whether you travel worldwide with the Paralympians, whether you're part of an Invictus team, whether you are me, little me, who came back after COVID and decided to help fellow disabled people, whether you are an individual writing your story, whether you are in a care facility in the Midlands, there are examples of community systems that will facilitate your breakthrough through us. And if you don't know how, get in touch. Those that are struggling out loud, we just need to connect the dots between our community, being who we are, and then saying it. I think that when we are authentic, when we say how our authenticism is impacting on our life and vice versa, or our inauthenticism, right, where we don't feel that we can be ourselves, when we have to put on that facade, that mask, when we can find a community where we can struggle out loud, then those 3 elements, connecting the dots, who we are, who we're with, and how we can be, It's 4 actually. But that's how we create growth for self-improvement. That's my opinion. It's an iterative process. I don't believe that personal development is about reading a book, applying it, and then just getting on with it, and there you go, you're going to be personally developed. It's about redefining and defining, refining and defining and redefining our relationship with ourselves. And that's our struggle out loud too. So by struggling out loud, maybe what I'm talking about is struggling with others, not against them or in spite of or without them or about them without them, right? But with those communities. Because when we share our stories with communities, our communities can show up and really share in ours. That fosters, for me, the empathy and understanding required to create that connection. You know, I heard last week that somebody who's going to be an important client of ours, because they're all important, right, is very likely to be receiving the knowledge, the information that they're going to be another step forward towards their hopes and dreams. That happens every day, right? So I don't know why I'm highlighting one particular story right now, but I have a hope in my heart for one of our individuals that we support who's not even with us yet. They're not even an individual we support yet, but I know they're going to be. You know, stories are just data with a soul. That's what they are. And we love data. We run the entire internet on it, but we also run our soul on data when we add in the story. You know, when we share our struggles, we make our stories through our experiences that are relatable and powerful. When we relate to each other, when we understand that my hope for this client that's going to be coming on board, all of my hope on that client is the hope that I held for every one of my children. Is the hope that I held for me as a young person when I look back at my younger self. And I just want to say sorry right here, right now to her. Because I didn't understand it and I didn't take the time, not the time that I should have, to appreciate why she hurt. But I'm starting to hear her now, out loud. I think that being vulnerable is courageous, and Jew, who's next to me, and James both have shown vulnerability, the courageousness of vulnerability that's been second to none. Both have experienced personal battles, massive personal battles, and I think there's strength in the community that they found, and there's strength in the power of their authentic connections. It's important that we embrace our struggles, share them out loud, and find strength in that community connection. I think the call to action for me is to be authentically ourselves, to support each other out loud in our struggles, and to build a community where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. You know, we know what matters, but we know we are what matters more. I think we all know where we are, because it's pretty obvious when we look at our lives, and we all know who we are. When we join together through that authenticity, I think that creates the framework for empathy. And I think when we look at how we are together, we are stronger, we are actually better, particularly when we show up, whether or not we know the outcome to showing up. And I definitely had to do that this week. I feel like a little bit that I'm on the back foot just now because I'm starting something new. But I think when I shared that rich tapestry of my own human experiencing, well, I think that means that we are crafting something that is uniquely ourselves. And when we do that, there's no fear of anybody in competition because there is no competition. As a result, then we take away the fear of failure because there is no failure when the only person you're competing against is yourself. That's the potential I have for failure, is when I give up on me. So I don't give up on me and I don't give up on you. The reason for that is because we are being who we are. That'll do. That's all there is. So anything outside of that is pretty ridiculous, isn't it? And I'm always grateful to see you here, right now. I am Mandy Jane. We are at 6:15 and it's Monday, the 19th of February. Actually, it's quite an important day. It's my ex-husband's birthday, and it's only 6 days from my wedding anniversary that would have been. So I would have been married quite a long time on the 25th of February. And looking back on that, I'm very sad that that's still not the case. Believe me, when I got married for life. However, I still apparently am alive and I'm no longer married to that person. That's a real loss. However, what I do have is the opportunity to look back and say what I could have done better and the ways in which I could have been. And I'll tell you what I could have done. I could have accepted who and what and how I was. And that's what I'm doing right here, right now. So I feel that even though I don't feel as confident as perhaps I might have done way back when I went to get married on the 25th of February, all those many years ago, and you get less for murder, by the way. Oh, I shouldn't make jokes about marriage like that, but you do. It's above a quarter of a century. It's above 25 years ago that I could have just been more me and less frightened of letting people down when I had nothing to let them down with, right? Good morning, Jew. I'm just going to put it out there. I think that you are in a difficult situation. You can maybe talk to us about that for those that don't know who and what and how you are. There's a couple here. And I just want to know whether you think that that we should just, well, struggle out loud. Do you think do you think it's worth telling people that you're struggling? Good morning, by the way.
Good morning. Yeah, it possibly is. I struggle out loud, and I don't care who hears, because just occasionally you'll whinge and somebody important will hear, just as you did.
Thanks for that. I'll tell you what I heard. I heard that there was a 53-year-old in a care facility for the elderly in the Midlands and that you didn't choose to be there. And you might have progressive MS, but I believe that you are perfectly capable of some element of productivity, whether that's for yourself or whether that's to help other people. That's what I think. And I think that you didn't want to do it on your own. And we're just about through 2 years on, right? We're just about through the access to work, aren't we?
Yeah.
I've just literally received your. I'm just hoping the keys. Oh, do you know what? I'm an idiot. Excuse me, everybody. I have literally just left myself locked. I'm just going to have to go and open the door live on social media. But at least you can see I've got a door. and I'm able to find it. New door, new house. New door, new house. At least morning, you see, I can't blow this morning because I left the key. That's the lock on. So good morning. You're still live on social media. You can say good morning if you like. Do you know this girl will become famous just because of the fact that I make her so? There we go. When we're back, there we are. Yeah. So that was Maureen. I am in my new flat. Sorry, Julian. Yeah. Struggling out loud. I forget where I was, apart from the fact that this morning I was struggling out loud. So yeah, that we got you. That's it. Just got a quote. Just got a quote from iGaze. Just got a quote from iGaze about helping you get the software and the equipment. And the other thing is that whilst we get that new quote, the lady that's getting all those quotes is being trained. So she's one of our new strategy coaches. Have you met her yet?
No.
But she's been busy scurrying around in the background, getting all these quotes for the frames to go on your chair, and she's found a new 4x4 wheelchair provider, and so it's all happening now, isn't it?
I hope so.
Well, we're getting through court, and that's happened, hasn't it?
That is gonna be excellent.
It is. It is. We're getting there. I know it's long. Dear Lord, I know it's long.
Costing us.
It has cost enough, hasn't it? I think my life's cost enough. I think coming up and down to the Midlands cost enough as well. But I couldn't have been happier.
But you stopped off on the way to see your
Kids, exactly. It's called a double whammy. But I still struggled out loud. I still stopped on the way. No, it was good because you see, it's 7.5 hours to the kids from Cardiff, where it is if you're stopping on the way, up to Scarborough. But the Midlands, it drops me off at 3.5 hours. It's ideal. So I can't think of a better thing to do with my time, to be honest with you.
And I found you a perfect hotel.
You did. You found me a space in the middle of the second to none. I'm sure I used to live there in a former life. I think perhaps I was in many moons ago. I was probably part of Henry VIII's household at some point. He certainly threw somebody there, didn't he? There's lots of history. We're talking about. What are we talking about, G? What's it called? There we go.
Abbey.
I must have stayed there a million times. Can't remember what it was called. Yeah, I like Coombe Abbey. I think we should have a Christmas event there this year. What do you reckon?
Well, we seem to gravitate there.
We do, don't we? And to be honest, I think it might be worth them having our trade. It might be worth thinking about. We better hurry up though, because it's February. Most people have already sorted their 2025 Christmas out. I don't know whether you know that, but people do that stuff way ahead. So maybe we should start planning this year and next year. What do you want to do Christmas 2025? Do you know yet?
No, I thought the Bahamas.
I like it. I like your plan. I'm up for that. Mauritius. I don't know. Seems like a long way to go. I think maybe we should just. I don't know. Yeah.
If you're going to Coombe.
You might as well go to Mauritius.
Yeah, I bet you won't break down in that.
No, I bet not. I hope everybody's coming up now. It's great. I'm looking forward to it. No, I bet I won't break down in the van because the aeroplane might say, although we won't even go into air flights and wheelchairs. That will be funny. I'm looking forward to that. I think we'll have to have our own VAT-free plane at that point. Anyway, we're taking over the entire world here. We've only got 40 minutes and there's 4 of us, which means that we're done.
Okay.
Oh, you're amazing. Thanks for being here. And it's great to say good morning, even though I've already said good morning at 5 o'clock, didn't I? It's our second good morning of the day. Briefly, I realised it was brief. It's because I was running around, like I said, I wasn't ready for today. Today's only just arrived, I promise you. I didn't feel like it arrived at 4 o'clock this morning. I promise you I didn't. Felt like I'd only just gone to bed, and yet I had a good 8 hours. I definitely needed that rest.
Yeah, I was knackered last night.
Yeah, I was too. That's a nice way of saying I definitely needed some rest. That you were cream crackered. I was definitely. I'm trying to learn to be a good girl and say things like cream crackered. I'm going to learn to be not a potty mouth.
Oh.
That disappoints my paratrooper friend, but I'm going to try because I've got lots of very respectable people to look after and be supportive of. So I've got to learn these things. It's all part of growth, isn't it? That's struggling out loud, and I'm struggling out loud to say cream crackered, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Ah, thank you for helping, James. Good morning. Here's somebody that can help me. Do you struggle out loud? I saw your scar. I saw your enormous scar. Tell people what's gone on because you've been struggling out loud. You broke your neck, didn't you? Did you break your neck?
Yeah, it's been C4 and my C5, not my C3. My C3 I just slightly damaged that, but they reckon that'll grow back, which I'm sure it will because I'm drinking quite a lot of coffee at the moment, and taking a few other nice mushroom supplements, and
Good.
I seem to be getting a lot better quality of sleep these last 3 days. This morning when I woke up and looked at the machine, I was like, oh my God, it's the third day on the run. What's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew as soon as I woke up, I was like, wow, that was a good sleep. But I don't do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 at the moment. I spend about 20 minutes in my bed doing arm exercises and just getting the awkwardness, because it is incredibly difficult sleeping with this left side being in the condition that it's in. But I only have the left side that's in a difficult position. I know when I visit my good friend who's on the stage here, Julian, he's got far more weaknesses in various points, but he certainly doesn't possess that in his mind. The mind over matter that Julian possesses really inspires me, because when I visit that nursing home for elderly people where that young man lives, it really does inspire me how he moves forward and tolerates some of the deafness when the alarms are ringing.
I've decided I'm not a
really impresses me, but yeah, it really does. And it was great this year when we all met up. Well, last year actually. Now thinking about it, because this year's been a bit different for me since January. But as you say, there's about a 5-inch gash at the back of my head, down where they cut in to get access to my spine, and they operated on me on the Wednesday, and halfway when they went to seal everything up, they turned the table over. They lost some of the sensors and the information on the computers, so they resumed the operation the next day. And the cut they made on the front is about the size of about a 20p coin, so it's not as glamorous as the one on the back. So, and I am sprouting a little Harry Potter lightning X marks the spot right in the centre of my head, where I decided to meet the tiles on the gym floor that morning at the sauna, when I mistakenly drank probably about the same amount of coffee and water, and I normally drink more water when I go to the sauna than coffee, because I like keeping really hydrated. I usually have about 3 litres of water in the morning before, as I go through the sauna and the gym and the training. But that day I literally had 500 ml of water, so I obviously had a little dizzy spell, and only managed 14 minutes in the heat, where I would normally do 30 minutes. So I knew I was in trouble. I just didn't think I was in that much trouble. And thankfully now I'm getting stronger every couple of days. So today I actually start my outpatient appointments. So I have a few of these this week.
Oh, that's fantastic news.
With the incredible people at my doctors in the Wigan area, and I'm off on the train to Salford to the amazing people that treated me and did all this great work on me. I'm off up there later on in the week, and gonna have a little train adventure up there, because it's quite easy where I live. I'm only a few hundred yards away from all the transport hubs, which are really starting to become a lot better up here now that everything's coming back to life, just like myself. And thinking, but this morning I treated myself. I got a lovely white T-shirt last year, and to be honest, when I picked it up in August, I was searching through all the different T-shirts, and I was like, well, that would be the size that you used to wear. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, damn, there's no large left.
You've lost a lot of weight.
So I got the medium, and at the moment the medium is a little challenge at the moment, but it does fit. So that just reminds me that I've put a little bit of insulation on over the winter, and I'm sure that with the physio's help, they will support me back down at the gym with the Be Well Wigan team, and and then eventually I'll be able to get the bike back on the road. But I'm sure they will supervise me at first and make sure everything's right and
I think
move forward. But yeah, everything's looking really good, and I'm really grateful to the support that I've been getting over the last couple of years, MJ, because I have had some of the challenges I've had before this small slip at the gym. I think are much worse than have scarred me much worse than how that looks on the back of the neck. I mean, goodness me, one place I could talk about, which I won't. Really did take the biscuit.
You're in a better place
really
now, though.
Knackered me out, yeah. So I'm just gonna reach for my glass bottle, 16-ounce glass bottle of water now.
Good.
And have a nice drink of water, and
That's
I've
what I like
already
to
had
hear.
about 4 ounces. So I'm gonna keep topping up and say cheers to everyone in the room this morning. Have a
Cheers
beautiful
to
day
you.
and a wonderful week, everybody.
Certainly will, James, and I shall see you later tonight for inclusion. It's always great to hear from you, and what I hear with you is you just keep on keeping on, right? And it doesn't matter what life throws at you, you keep on keeping on. And the fact that you can go through that damage to your spine and still come out fighting is testament to the fights that you've had before, because it's not about what happens to us. It can't be. If it was, then then we'd all be in a challenge. It's got to be about how we respond to it, okay? And you are somebody that responds to those challenges there isn't anyone that couldn't say that you don't respond to them with a cheer and with some sort of attitude that's second to none, because you do. I think that resilience is something that we see in each other, and that it's what you see in Jew when you go up and see him. It's what I see in both of you, and it's what I see in the next lady, and it's why that I will always champion those people around me that show that fortitude, that resilience, and that just keeping on. Alexia, you just keep on. You're like a Duracell bunny, aren't you? Just keep on keeping on.
We're sort of connected in some way, mate. We both like doing things against the grain as well as we're it's an honour to be part of this group, and so many people that really want to make that effort to change, because we all change as we get older. My leg now means that walking is becoming a challenge, and I was getting a bit distressed because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do with the planet, and I had to stop and think about it. And I thought, I've got to find a way of doing this. I was still doing it, but I was struggling. And I suddenly thought about it, and I thought, yeah, I haven't got those cheap grabbers that everybody else gets for the rubbish. When I used to take the trailer out, I would use the grabber like a walking stick because it's a strong one, so I could lean on it. So now I take a rubbish bag, a council one, which is much bigger, with, instead of the walking stick, I take the big grabber. That makes me work a little bit harder because I can't use the grabber to lean on when I do the rubbish. So I'm helping myself in lots of ways, because you and I and Drew and James and many others know that if you don't keep moving, you lose it.
Absolutely.
And that happens so much with older people. When I've actually, it's funny how systems work. I got a phone call from my doctor's surgery 2 weeks ago now saying, could I make an appointment? Could I make this appointment next Monday? And I thought it's just for a general checkup. But it isn't. It's actually to see the knee surgeon.
Yes.
Exactly, yes. But my first question to him is going to be, right, you're going to do this knee, that's good. But how soon can I get back to doing floor exercise? Because that is critical in an older person.
Of course.
Particularly if you live on your own like I do. Yeah, I'm lucky I've got someone I can call, but let's face it, that's not what the NHS is for. The NHS is for general care. I mean, one day I would like to have a topic about the history of the NHS, because I actually nursed a matron who was in charge in 1952 when the NHS was formed in London.
Wow.
And she was matron at Eastbourne Hospital, and she told me what it was like before we had the NHS.
Oh, I can't imagine. I'd be dead.
Oh, you would. I would. If I was alive, I nursed, when I went into nursing, I nursed she was just classed as a patient, but today, with everything we know, she could have been doing so much. She was like the first ones of the thalidomide babies.
Yeah.
And she had
pharmaceuticals again. Sorry.
Yeah, but she spent her whole life doing exactly what Ju was doing. She was in a hospital bed with elderly people. She was never given anything to do.
Yeah.
That's all day, 7 days a week. The only interaction she got was from the nursing staff.
Exactly. Just recently, I'm going to interrupt you. Just on Facebook, I think, or Instagram, there was a compilation of some Tory. Sorry, I think they were Tories. I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm being terrible there. Some government ministers who were talking about SEND, special educational needs and disabilities, and he went, hang on, I'm sure that that this wasn't the case when I was at school in the 50s and the 60s. I'm sure that these people weren't causing trouble then. And somebody came on and went, no, sir, because they were held in different places then. They weren't in school with us. And he went, well, whatever we did with them then, why aren't we doing that with them now? So what you're talking about, of course, is that
whatever they are,
that she should have stayed in her hospital because we don't want to see them.
I don't want to use.
Yeah, terrible.
You were, I was
terrible.
Brought up with the world that had got to adapt.
Yeah.
We've got to adapt to the world.
Yeah.
We haven't got to adapt to the world.
Well, I can't in some ways.
Well, let's just think about Pete's journey. He ripped his tendon.
Oh, that was a bad
playing
day.
cricket.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody tomorrow.
Any
We've got
day.
to change this ethos that everything's got to fit to what the norm is, because there isn't anything.
There isn't. It's not real, is it? It's just what the majority did a lot of the time. Yeah.
More mobile. I was travelling to London pretty much every week.
Yeah.
And anyone who's been anywhere near London Bridge at 8:30 on a Sunday, on a Monday to Friday, knows there's this mad beeline to get on the underground. And sometimes the only way I could do it, I would deliberately whack somebody with my walking stick, because it was the only way they would pay attention.
Oh yeah, no. Sometimes I was sat in the wheelchair going,
me rather than let me get on the train.
I can just sit in my wheelchair and literally people will just leave me stuck in a crowd of people and not worry about whether I can go forward or not.
Yeah.
It's mad. It is a bit mad. So I can't imagine doing it with sticks. It's very brave. But then that's it, isn't it? You still struggled out loud. You didn't stay in and hide in the house. You went out and you were like, all right, I've got to maybe be a bit brusque with my walking aids. But you made sure people knew you were there and you got where you needed to go.
Well, it's like this argument of, when we last met in London, I didn't make the Christmas one because the cold weather with my rain nights almost makes me seize up.
Yeah.
And you know me, I won't give in, but I felt that was putting too much responsibility on myself and everyone else.
Completely.
But I will be there in March.
So excited.
Coming.
So excited.
Yeah, so am I. But when we left Pete's get together in London, I thought, no, I'm not going to pre-organise this. I'm just going to leave with enough time to see what happens. The only thing, obviously, I had to do was make sure, because I was going back by train and bus, that I was at the right places to be able to get on the transport, because different transport systems don't run the same way. If you miss your train down south, you can get virtually on any train. If you miss a train up in the Midlands and the North and you're on a specific train, in theory, they won't let you on the next one because you've missed yours, which I think is complete madness. But hey, anyway, so I got the taxi across London to get to, I think it was Euston I was going back by. And I deliberately got there an hour early because I was meeting up with James, and also I needed to, I think I was meeting up with James on that one. I needed to organise help to get on and off the train. And she said, have you pre-booked it? I said, no. I said, I'm here an hour early. That surely gives you enough time to organise the fact that I need some help getting on off the train. I said, otherwise, I'll just accost the customer. I don't care. But if something happens, that's your liability because I've come here with enough time for you to sort this one out.
Definitely an hour.
Yeah,
definitely. I think sometimes they want us to book 72 hours in advance, and I think that really is preclusive to moving around the world. But an hour is definitely enough. But yeah, well done, because the only way that people can begin to understand how it is to move around is if we do move around.
Exactly. I mean, it really is becoming a challenge for me to walk. I actually take the dog out at the same time because I used to do the dog and then the rubbish, but with university and my walking, I can't do it.
No.
I have to accept I can't do it because the knee gives way, and that you can hear it. I stand and talk to Daniel sometimes, and it will just go. So I've got to be careful. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop and not do something. It means that you adapt, and people need to realise we adapt. Now I've gone back to doing my street on a more thorough basis. It's staying clean again. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if everybody does their bit, things can change.
Absolutely.
So working together does make a difference. It truly does. And standing up and saying, no, I don't have to accept things the way they are.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to cost mega bucks for things to change.
100%. I want to say thank you for you being around, because you're exactly the entrepreneur that I am looking towards, because I believe you've got a wealth of experience. You've told me that you've done lots of things, including investment, and that it's your confidence that you were lacking. I think that having the equipment and aid and support around you means that you can have that confidence back.
Yeah, I still haven't quite got used to it yet. I was struggling with taking notes for you, and I said, "You stupid twit! You're trying to write this down. You've got two computers sitting there. You've got a big screen. All you need to do is have both computers open and having the other one for your note taking."
Yeah, that's what I started doing.
Yeah, it makes it so much quicker. And I keep finding ways, like, I mean, one of the simple things that my tutor got for me, and I think this should be compulsory in university, because I've spoken to more than one university person who finds this difficult when you're doing an online university course. They send these books out, and if they're not combined copies, you get a third of the way through, and you can't read the bloody thing. Well, I can't, because I can't keep it open. I've got an eye problem. Sometimes if my eye's really bad now, because I've also got cataracts, I need to use a magnifying glass to look at the book if things go out of focus. But Marie and I got together and had a long conversation with my tutor, and now I've got the combined copies. I'm going through the book as well. And I said to the tutor, I had a meeting with her Friday night. I said, thank you. I said, that's brilliant. I said, because there's little bits that are only on the online course, but there's also important little bits that are only in the book. And I was missing them because I couldn't do it. And just that one simple thing at university, I've gone through every page in the first part of my course, and last year I didn't do that, and the beginning of this year I didn't do it. I got to that third point and I couldn't cope with the book. I threw it on the floor.
Now you can.
Yes.
It does. They're massively those differences make such a difference. Just having a second screen for me makes a massive difference to my processing. And yet the other week somebody said to me from Access to Work they don't do second screens. So it just shows we've got to evidence why these things are helpful, because otherwise the people assessing them might not understand why.
Well, next time Marie comes down, I get her to do a live video of me using those screens so people can see what a difference it makes. When I had idea. It took a year to get that training, to get somebody to come and work with me at home with that software. You haven't seen that, but Marie has. You say to me, well, in a way you have, because we've done notes together. You say to me it's top right, top left, in the middle, at the bottom. I can only look at one place at a time. I can't actually look at the whole screen and focus on it in one go.
No, I've seen that. I couldn't believe how difficult it was for you.
Yeah. It made a real challenge to go from one screen to another to write, at least with the voice thing. It doesn't always get it right, but last time I was had a meeting with someone, I managed to use the Glean and record it.
That's fantastic.
Some of the words are not right, and that will need to go back and be corrected. But I've got a voice recording
as well.
And a written one.
Yeah, so you can just put it on the key, the cursor, and then you'll be able to hear what was said, even though what's written, it might say the word that's similar. But in the majority, you get the transcript, don't you? It's amazing.
You do. It's
almost about 95% is correct. The other thing is that when you get back over the notes and you press the recording, you can hear the difference. So then when you're writing the notes, you're writing active notes. So it's even better that there's some mistakes because you're checking the notes for the mistakes.
Yeah. So. Actually, what I've realised, it's actually very good for the dyslexia.
It is. Checking them, it is.
Because it speaks the words rather than the written word, because a dyslexic can't always see mistakes.
Or phonologically process. So sometimes we read what we think we've written rather than what's written.
Exactly. Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I've done my usual thing of put a blog out today, and I had a really rough week last week, and I actually went to bed yesterday at 7 o'clock, and I slept most of the night. I don't normally sleep, but I tried to write this yesterday and do my message for Mandela, and I couldn't do it. I'd made him miss some words out, and I just couldn't correct it. That's why I was a bit late this morning, because I was writing the message that I write to Mandela and to the children.
That's great that you write to them every week.
I've been doing that. I'm thinking, was it 3 years we've been working with Mandela now?
It's wild how long it is since we bought a farm. Like buying that farm in Uganda brought us together like communities never brought anyone together, right? The community connection that had to happen for that farm to happen. I can remember 5 o'clock in the morning. Pete and his ankle, his Achilles heel, flipping heck.
Yeah.
He was very poorly. He'd been awake 24 hours. It was just after the operation or whatever they'd done for it. But there was no way that room was closing. There was just no way. I was not going to bed before we got that sorted. There's no way I'm going to commit to anything for 24 hours without completing it. Get lost. Not a chance. No, that's exactly how I felt. I was like, no, I'm not going to set out to buy a farm and then leave before we've got it. It just can't happen.
I think in those 3 years, I've missed four weekends. I haven't sent him a message, but there's always been something really critical that's gone wrong that I haven't done it. And on one occasion, it was because I had to get a TMA in and I got my knickers in a right. As you do.
I think that's called Struggling Out Loud, which is the title of this room. It's all right to get your knickers in a twist. I mean, at least you've got some knickers to twist. And the fact that we do that out loud for me allows other people to say, well, actually, I might go to university and I still might find it hard. And it could still be that when I'm in business, I don't quite get it right. The Lilac Review, which is what has just been released by the government about disabled people in business, says that essentially, just like disabled women, not disabled women can't get any funding in business, and that modern business, things like sex tech, that can't get any funding, but also disabled entrepreneurs, they can't get any funding either. So we're back to the funding only going to the white male, stale, unfortunately, middle class selected. So we have to be out there struggling and showing people what a struggle is, because if you can't make money and you can't be safe in this environment when you've been in business 20, 30 years like you, Alexia, in your third age, then we're not doing it right. So I think the fact that you understand what you're entitled to, but you're also able to stay in business and you're able to contribute is really important.
Do you know why I learnt to trade the market?
Why?
Because I'd got quite a bit of money stashed away, and the bank I was with said, "Oh, you could put some of that into shares and you could make some money off it."
Mm.
They lost over £25,000 of my money, and I thought, I don't like the way they're doing this. They're not taking proper control. Yes, trading is a risky business, but business is a risky thing to do anyway. Life is risky.
Yeah.
So I went to London and I learned to trade the markets for myself. I made it back and I doubled it.
Yeah.
The system has changed so much since I was a trader. I mean, I could teach someone to trade, that's not a problem. But the system has changed so much because of technology.
Of course.
That you need to know how the system completely works today. And I don't know whether I would want to go back to it now. But
you did it for yourself.
Yeah.
You did it for yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
You took control and you did it for yourself. And
Yeah.
I think it's important that we're able to just acknowledge that that's really how it has to be for the one in four. I'm afraid is we do have to do it for ourselves. We do essentially. We are better off if we can just have some agency. And the Lilac report says that even though it's unfair, actually the government know that they need to start putting in, because there's £26 billion of untapped potential in disabled entrepreneurs. 26 billion. That's a market to be accessing.
One of the things, as far as health is concerned, if you went back to 1952, if you were unemployed, you had to do some work in the community, and that didn't matter if you'd been the chief executive of Marks and Spencer's and you'd applied for support. You had to go and sweep the streets, or you were told what you had to do, and you had to go and do that.
Well,
I'm sorry, but we should bring that back for the simple reason that so many people are sitting at home, and a lot of their health problems are caused by sitting at home and watching the TV.
See, I agree. I think TV is the biggest killer, never no more. But I also think doing boring things that don't make a difference is also just as tedious and boring. So what I want to see is people's agency. Yeah, but I want to see people being given the desire to do that, not being forced to. I want people's agency to be ignited.
Sometimes what I've seen as a nurse is if you don't give people a push, they won't do it.
Well, I think that's the case for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. So by giving them the push. Now, when I had no money in the bank, when Anne took me in, I didn't know how the heck I was going to get myself out of that mess.
No.
I went and volunteered for a charity.
Oh, I think workfulness is massively important.
I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills.
No, it's
I
not
ended
important.
up as a manager for that charity.
That's right.
It didn't happen overnight. It took 4 years, but
you did choose. But you did choose. You chose to go and do that. What I want to know is, how do we help people choose?
Well, sometimes, MJ, they have to have a little bit of a push. That's why we need to bring this back, because they get so fixed by what the TV is saying. This is the problem we've got with the national health, is let's take a pill rather than look at what we're doing in their lifestyle.
That is true. Quick fix. There's no quick fix for healthfulness, is there? There's no quick fix for being healthy.
There isn't.
There's no quick fix. There isn't.
It hurts me to get down on the floor.
It's an ongoing slog.
But I still do it.
Yeah. It's very true, and we know the person that's taught me that. I know that you've worked with all sorts of people, but you've also worked with my coach Pete Cohen, and I'm on with him, and we're listening to him in 6 minutes on LinkedIn. But you know, you and I have met through the power of Pete Cohen. The power of Pete Cohen, and Karen Dark and the Quest 79, and you stimulated me, you instigated, you helped me with the power of saying yes out loud, to the power of doing it in front of everyone, actually, which is, you know, struggling out loud. When I began the fundraising, just as you were starting to collect, you'd already collected the rubbish, you became a top trumps card person. You are a member of a top trumps card. I can't say that yet. But you going out every day, literally, I thought, well, if Alexia can go out and collect the rubbish every day, why can't I come into a clubhouse room every day and ask to raise some funds? And, you know, I can't say thank you enough to everybody for whom that was part of our journey, just like the farm. You know, when we struggle out loud, which is what we all did on Clubhouse, what we do right now on Clubhouse, what we do everywhere else, to say, actually, it's hard to be us, it's hard to stay committed, it's hard to stay committed to ourselves, but together it's much less difficult, because when we struggle together. You know, everyone that comes on a Monday night struggles together, and I'm going to see you all there at 7 o'clock. So in 12 hours, I will see you all after my day at placement. But Alexia, thank you for struggling out loud with me.
It's an honour to be with you, and I'm always behind you. I might not always physically be there, but just like with Mandela, you can still be there with love and with kindness. And one simple thing we can all do is be kind to this planet, because if you're being kind to this planet, you're being kind to you.
You are.
And by doing that, you're being kind to everybody else as well.
You are, because it's only in that kindness of the very tiny things, like the ladybird, that I find, you know, I find them everywhere. I don't know what it is, but they appear to me all the year through. I don't know why ladybirds appear to me all the year through, but they do all the year through. Different colours of them, different types, in college, in university, here, on placement, everywhere. Ladybirds, I don't understand how that's possible, but there we are. I know Pete has a thing with robins that turn up because of who they are, but for some reason I have ladybugs everywhere. And they remind me every day of the fragility of life, but also how important it is to really even think about the smallest creatures. Without bees, I was eating some honey this morning, actually.
Well, it's
without bees, we've been noodled. Sorry.
Because as you know, those children's books started by teaching the children. Even the humble frog does things to help us, because the frog eats flies.
I love frogs.
It eats slugs, so it's helping crops to grow. So
there you go.
When you dismiss these small creatures,
you dismiss the very essence. No, you dismiss the very essence of what is life. I'm very grateful to you, because you teach me every day, Alexia. And I have a drum, by the way. I won't bring it on, because it's a personality of its own, but you prompted me to buy a drum. I have my own drum now. And actually on Saturday, I offered myself up to do guided meditations for people, for a donation for inclusion. And I said for £100 I will carry out a guided meditation, a Reiki guided meditation for people. And I'm being taken up on that. So it looks like my guided meditations are going to be out there. So again, that's your doing, your help there, Alexia. Thank you for helping me to develop my gifts. You've been here in MJ's house. We're only 2 minutes away. We need to run away to LinkedIn. I don't like to disrespect those that brought me up. And where I am is about honouring our lineage. I am with some amazing people who I honour this morning. You and everyone in the audience. I love you. I need to catch up with you. For those that I haven't caught up with, thanks for being here. You've been in MJ's house, and I shall see you over at LinkedIn in 1 minute. Blessings. Have the most wonderful Monday. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.